Live.
We are live, brothers and booze.
Year in review.
Oh man, we got a good lineup this week, dude. I'm excited.
You and me.
Yeah, we're gonna start getting some guests in here soon. We're gonna start, first couple weeks New Year. Everybody's busy. It's kind of hard to get everybody in lined up, but we're gonna start getting some guests in here, and it's gonna be a great year, man. I can feel it.
All right, can I start?
Yeah, man, have at it. Because
You know how
I'm
I
doing
feel
all
about-
Midwest beers. I'm doing all shit you probably had. So
We'll see.
we'll see.
Well, so I don't like drinking. I like drinking out of style. I like drinking styles when people say you shouldn't be drinking them. So we're gonna start today with a Marzen. Just because it's fall and we're ready for school. Actually, this was gotten in one of those what a beer advent things.
Beer advent thing,
and I just didn't finish it. So
yeah,
we're gonna finish it.
So what's the brewery?
Meminger.
All right, is that it looks kind of like it's not from the United States. Am I right there?
No, most of these beers are from Germany. And I don't know if you saw there was a thread in Plug, Daddy Porter's Beer Group. And when I wrote it that I got this Advent thing. I never had it before. The beers pretty much got slammed in there. I don't know if you saw that. People were
I didn't. I heard it was like,
Yeah, they're from these microbrews from Germany, but apparently they're all brewed in the same place, but they're slapped on different cans, and I don't know. I was just excited for the beer, so I'm still excited for the beer.
This stuff you haven't tried before, you know.
This is a Marzen. It says it is. This is a pale Marzen. We want our Marzen.
That looked, and it does say in the can gold. Maybe it's a
Marzen gold. Okay. It's a light Marzen. It's a Lawnmower Marzen. It's not a big bready one that we're used to talking about. I didn't get to pull up their website, but when you jump on yours, I'm gonna pull it up and we're gonna check it out here. But I don't know. It says gold. It says gold. Yeah, my names are gold, and then it says Marzen. So or Marzen. I think the you're right. It's definitely gold, and I think that's what they're accenting. This seems to be a lighter Marzen. This seems to be even a lighter than a Fest beer. I don't know if you're familiar with those.
Yeah,
those kind of like Marzen-y. This is a light drinker. If it didn't say Marzen on it, I wouldn't think it was. So there's that. It just tastes like a lager. I'm not sure if it is or not. I really don't care. It's drinkable. It's nice. It's light.
So in the as I am a professional at this, I realized I did not bring a bottle opener. So I got to grab one real quick to open my first. So why don't you bring that thing up?
Today is it. Now it's the time for our sponsor. Right. Don't you love live streaming? You can get this. So now it's time for a sponsor. Daddy Porter's Beer Group. We started this beer group about 4 years ago. We have almost 600 people in there now. Today it's a group on Facebook where people go. They post the beer stuff. We go back and forth about beers, whether you had them or not. It's really nice. Little side note here, real quick, Doug, is that it's funny. There are all these kinds of different beer groups. You go on Facebook. One of mine is a group of my friends, people that I meet in the industry. We all get together. I do a lot of traveling. I go to conferences and stuff, so I meet people, and it's just a great way for me to connect with my beer friends, but not have to be friends with them. And we can, if we want to be friends, we can. But we can. So that's great. But it's funny though. You wouldn't know, Doug, because I'm pretty sure you're not in them. But there are Black people beer groups on Facebook. So I'm in two of them.
Yeah.
It's just funny how, especially the one of them, when people post founders, and it becomes very, very interesting immediately. Like in our group, people post founders, and people are respectful of it. Nobody really says, you know what I mean? Everybody's like, whatever, you drink what you drink. But in the Black beer groups, it gets pretty crazy now with founders.
I imagine that causes a ruckus.
Oh, it caused a ruckus. This week you really did it. It was funny and it was hilarious. But anyway, so we're supposed to do a beer in review here, and or a year in review, part 2. We had part 1 like 2 weeks ago. This week I just we had Casey on, or no, I'm sorry, we had Dennis on from First Box. Yep. And then we also had our friend Matt Clark from, I forget his podcast, but it's cool as fuck.
It is a long gaming podcast, and I assure you, it is super entertaining. I've listened to more than my share of episodes because I'm a gamer as well. So
me too. Super Quadrifagilistic HBO Docious show.
Something like that. Sorry, anyway, Matt, we'll get it right next time.
Right. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit before. You're going to get to your first one, of course. But I want to talk to you a little bit about your favorite guests that we had and your favorite, like, what happened on the show this last year. Our first show was February 8th.
Oh, so we're almost a year in. That's pretty awesome.
We went 4 shows before we started Brothers and Booze. We were What Are You Drinking for 3 shows.
Yeah. So, I mean, we had some pretty awesome guests. I mean, Dennis is fun because he's starting his own business and just like kicking ass at it. Like, I enjoy hearing him, and he broadcasts not just from like his house. He's like at breweries and stuff. So I thought that was really cool because he's at the source. I think we had my 2 favorite ones personally was having Afro Beer Chick on, because that was just a hoot, because she just gives 0 fucks and she'll tell you exactly what she thinks, and I think that's great. And
she stole the show. She was the whole show.
Yeah, and just the idea of like, I don't like this beer, I'm going to throw it in this food and it's ice cream, and I'm just like, what? And like her like pushing that out and just being like, I never even thought of that, and that was just awesome. One of my other favorites was Rita Trionis, because having a female chicharron on here was great. And talk about knowledge, man. That was great. So, I mean, we've had a lot of guests, and, I had my podcast partner, Jay, had both my brothers-in-law on, and just like, we've had an array of people. And, you and I are pretty big on diversity and everything like that. So like, I want to continue that. I just think it's fun, and I'm really thankful for people that took time to come on.
Right, man. Shout out to Stub and Kern. Those guys, I couldn't stop laughing when they were on, especially Kern. Kern is a hoot.
Yeah, he's something else, man. It was great.
What you got, Doug? What are you drinking?
Well, I'll tell you what I'm drinking, then I want to hear what your favorite guests and episodes or what things that happened to. So I'm going to go with pretty much a staple in your neck of the woods. I'm going to start with a Spotted Cow, New Glarus, which is funny because it's, people outside of Wisconsin think that's kind of like you got a Spotted Cow. Like, I've had Spotted Cow before. I haven't had it in a couple years, so my memory is a little fuzzy on how it was. But I think like the people I know, like my brother-in-law, Aaron, his wife is from Wisconsin, and when they get New Glarus beer, it's all fruit beer. Like, they just get all their fruit beers because So, all right, we're going to pour this out here, man.
Yes, the OG. That's somebody.
Yeah, that beer is style. Yeah. That pours out nice. Now, Spotted Cow. And I don't have my freaking glasses on because I'm an old man and I need to look.
Oh, got it right here. Let's see what's going on.
So this is an original farmhouse ale. So
wow. Yeah.
Naturally cloudy farmhouse ale, like that.
That's what they call it for. We around here we're like, it's a cream ale. We got it.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty clear. I mean, it almost looks like a wheat beer in how it looks for me.
Yeah, a wheat beer. Yep. Yes, sir. Natural cloudy, fun, fruity, satisfying.
And those I think are all good descriptors. It's a good, solid beer, really drinkable. Like, you could drink a lot of these. You know what I mean? It's not something where it's like like drinking the Southern Tier diabetes beers, but this is just really super crushable. It's really, I don't know, it's good. It's
Lawnmower.
Yeah, I could see Lawnmower. Yeah.
Shower.
maybe shower beer. I would venture that.
Why
It's more,
not? Come on, it's
yeah, but I'm going to tell you, I don't know why. Maybe it's I only have one sip. Bear that in mind. So
gotcha. Gotcha. No, no.
but I
Spotted
mean, look at
cows.
that. I poured it, and
So
I just like just goes down super smooth.
yeah, that's an OG. I mean, that's a gateway to many people craft beer.
Hmm.
Many people.
Yeah.
It was part of my. It was definitely part of my. It was when I went off of Molson, I started going to Spotted Cow. But then I don't know that in repetition, it kind of started. It started giving me headaches. Actually, believe it or not.
Hmm.
So
But I
I
find
kind of get it.
Go ahead.
Well,
Sorry.
no, you go, you go, you go.
I just thought one thing that was interesting on here is a Spotted Cow adheres to the Reinheitsgebot purity
Yeah.
law.
Okay.
So I'm mispronouncing the fuck out of that, but
Yeah, I
basically,
can't get right. Let's go.
so it's using only 4 hand-selected and all natural ingredients: yeast, hops, water, and malted barley. So that's pretty interesting to me. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry, sir.
Oh, and New Glarus is again they're a fantastic brewery, as you already know. It's funny because people on the ground here call that the worst beer that they brew, and people are like, oh, "How dare you?" And I don't know. I kind of generally agree with that, even though it's kind of like that just means they make a whole lot of other good beers. You can't go in a place without having Spotted Cow on the draft list. Any like big place. It's right next to the Bud Light here. It's right next to it. It's people are like, you don't have Spotted Cows. You don't have Spotted Cow. It's an issue. So,
Well, I think you're saying that like if they're the locals would say that it's their worst beer. I don't think that's an insult. I think that just means they bring it with other stuff. Because this is a decent beer.
great.
Like I said, really drinkable. I could see you could drinking this instead of, if you're like a Bud Light drinker or someone like that, this could be easily a gateway, like you said.
Oh yeah, and a lot of people I know. There's a bunch of people who drink Spotted Cow but won't drink any other craft beer. Spotted Cow is where they stop, and then they'll have the Miller Lite and stuff. But Spotted Cow is their thing, and that's it, and that's where they stop, and that's fine. For me, it was just more like this is good, but what else are you guys doing? And part of New Glarus was like that's when I learned about styles because I'm like, oh, this is a New Glarus beer, Spotted Cow. It's a New Glarus beer, and then I saw New Glarus on another one, and I'm like, what is that? I thought they only because I just like assimilate, one beer, one, you know what I mean, one company, you know what I'm saying? And then I was like,
for the longest time, I thought Rogue only made Dead Guy Ale because that was my gateway. But
cheers
they
to
make a metric shit ton of beer, and it was just I didn't know about it because I was there in Portland, Oregon, and I'm here. So
right. So real quick before I get to my next one, you stole Afro Beer Chick on me. To me, she was one of the funnest ones. Of course, the porter thing is just hilarious. And it's great and it's wonderful.
That might have been the best line of the year.
Yeah, and I met her. One of my I asked you about my favorite events because I mentioned Kern and Stubb. Those guys are funny. We'll absolutely have them back on. You're supposed to be on their shows. And you're gonna have a good time when you do that, man. That's
looking forward to
hilarious.
it.
They're hilarious. Make sure though, unlike me, when you get their pre-production thing, you go through that. It'll be easier and funner. And I can't wait till you do that. But I did meet my one main event I want to talk about. I went to Montana. You and I talked about that for an hour. It was fun as hell. Went to Philly. But I guess the highlight, if I had to pick one, is Fresh Fest, and that's where I met Afro Beer Chick. I had looked her up a little bit before Fresh Fest, but and I knew her a little bit, so I knew I wanted to see her. But like once I saw her there and she had a booth and I met her and just meeting her and feeling that electricity, I know you did through the streams, through the internet, you could feel like her energy and like just meeting her was just like, man, this lady's great. She's just fun as hell. So having her on the show and then being able to meet her at Fresh Fest was just it was just great. I can't say enough about that. So I'm gonna jump on my next one as we get our year in review. And speaking of year in review, I'm going to go back into last year's fall beer selection, and I have a good friend, Rick Dodora, and his wife, Paige, Dodora. She's great. He's my dangerous man connection, so he got me this, and we're gonna go back a little bit with the old Imperial Pumpkin. Is it too late for pumpkin beers? No, thank you.
No, I think you're safe. I think once you get into spring, then you run into maybe not, but
Well, also the imperial part. You know how it is when they're imperial. You can maybe age them a little bit. I wasn't intentionally aging this at all. I was cleaning up the beer fridge in the back. It's like, whoa, what's this?
oh, all right, I'm
It was
drinking
like,
that.
all right, well, we'll do this on the show because why the hell not, right? So I could smell the cinnamon pouriness. Ooh. Dangerous Man, I really like the balance that they do on a lot of their beers. So I'm expecting this to be a balanced one. I'm not expecting it to be over heavy. I'm not sure, and maybe you could tell us as a cellaring guy, but you cellar more long term than you do short term, don't you? Like you cellar by year.
Yeah, I tend to cellar at least a year.
Because this is like a half year. So like I wouldn't know what would fall out, like would cinnamon fall out, would nutmeg fall
That's
out.
all. I think that's wildly subjective, depending on the beer. I really do, and your conditions.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Whoa.
This is bigger than I thought it was gonna be. It's big, it's not it's up front with the the nutmeg and the pumpkin. I like to call it pumpkin spice, actually. Pumpkin spice is actually, don't they even have like a little pumpkin spice, like a little
They
bit?
sure do. You can get
Yeah.
and you can use that in cooking and stuff. Yeah.
It's like they took a Mars and sprinkled that in. That's exactly what it tastes like. Not too bad, not too again, bigger. You saw my reaction, bigger than I thought it was gonna be, but it dissipates pretty fast. And it's still pretty good. And I don't know, I got a crowler of this. I'll probably finish it. It's not too, what do we got here? 9.8.
Oh.
Ooh. And it says it has lactose. I don't know.
I don't know.
Contains lactose, but
Lactose.
not much.
Yeah, it
You know
doesn't.
what I mean?
Well,
Probably
I'm
sprinkled.
picturing lactose, and lactose always, to me, always gives it the kind of you can actually kind of see that it's creamy.
Yeah, not at
But
all.
that doesn't look that way. No.
But probably enough that they have to say something for lactose people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But not clearly not like, and I'm not getting. I don't know. Sometimes lactose adds like lactose has a little bit of body. I don't know. Maybe I can. Nah, I don't know, man. This is thin for a lactose beer. If that makes sense to you.
Well, I wouldn't expect there to be a whole lot in there if it's a pumpkin ale.
Right.
I mean, and then making it an imperial and all that. So yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
I'm down with it. What you got?
Well, the Dangerous Man stuff, I'm hoping I get to have that at some point because all the stuff you've had in there sounds super appealing to me, and that's a brewery I'd really like to get some stuff from.
I love it.
Yeah. So the next one I'm going to do is this is another one from your neck of the woods, Lake Louie.
Warp Speed. Lake Louie Warp Speed is another OG from here.
Yep. So this, you told me this is one of their flagships. So,
that is the flagship.
So I will say, in complete honesty, I had two of these, and last night I had one, and it was not at all taste like a Scotch ale. So I think I had a bad bottle. So
I hope you did, because again, that's one we all know around here. That's a go-to. It's one of the best ones, if not the best one. That
smells already so much better than the other one. It smells exactly like the other one smelled just flat. So
maybe it was. Hopefully it was. We got a place called the Great Dane Brew Pub. They're an OG. They've been around here. They have a stone scotch beer.
That's pouring so much better. I definitely had a bad bottle. The other one had no head. Like it was just flat and didn't even. Yeah.
Almost nitro looking.
Yeah, this one just smelled just exactly like what I want out of a Scotch ale. The other one smelled like just nothing. I don't even know how to explain it. It was so weird. So now I'm excited because Scotch ale is one of my favorite styles. So,
and again, man, if Wisconsin would give out a Scotch ale, it would be that one.
Okay, that's a good Scotch ale. I had a bad bottle before, so.
And that's really interesting and weird, and I'm glad you at least were able to have a few, because you would have a bad view of that beer, and that's a good beer.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, my friend is a coworker of mine, and his family's from Wisconsin, so his parents came out and brought just a shit Wisconsin beer, and I gave him some IPAs and pale ales and stuff that I gave him a blizzard of hops. One you didn't like, I gave him a perpetual IPA and a couple other beers I knew I wasn't going to drink. So I was like, hey, man, you want these? I was just going to give them to him because I knew he likes IPAs. So I was like, I've had a perpetual IPA. I don't need more. So he's like, yeah, man, I'll give you some stuff from my Wisconsin stash. I'm like, great. So,
right. And that's one. That's a staple to have. If you're going to have again, that's our Scotch ale right there. That's our Scotch ale.
And I'm going to tell you, like I said, the one I had last night was, or last night or the night before, whatever it was just like, ugh. I was like, it was, I think it just really literally was a bad bottle, because when I talked to him about it and I mentioned it and he goes, oh, I had 2 beers from that same 6-pack and they were fine. So it makes me think it just, whatever, maybe the seal wasn't quite right or whatever the case would be. But that, it pours nice, leaves a fucking really nice head. It's got all the characteristics you want to have a Scotch ale, just a really classic, straight down the middle Scotch ale. It's really good.
Yeah, Lake Louie is a personal favorite of a lot of people around here. Really small brewery. It just got bought or combined with Wisconsin Brewing. Started brewing there, and when you told me that this Warp Speed was not good, it kind of scared me, because that's their shit. It's not the only one they do, but if you say Warp Speed around here, everybody knows it. If you would post that in the Daddy Porter group, you would get many people talking about it. Just because, again, it is what it is. It's kind of like, it really is a lot like the other one you had. They're just staples around here. Lake Louie Scotch Ale is in a lot of bars, not as many as Spotted Cow, but many. So it's good to hear you got a good one. And I'm glad everybody was here in review. I would never, ever bring it on because it's always here. I should do it.
That's the thing.
I would never bring it on, though.
But that's the thing is, now I'm getting stuff from your neck of the woods. That stuff that Spotted Cow you can't get here because they don't get out of Wisconsin. Lake Louie, I've never even heard of that brewery. Right. It's like, oh, okay, great, let's try it, And so this is the thing. I'm trying staples from your area. But they're like, just like there are staples around here. Like there's certain things that, I don't know if you're going to go to here, which when you come, I'm going to get you some Andromeda IPA from Galaxy. That kind of a staple here. I
love space name beers. Love it.
Yeah. Well, Galaxy, all their beers are space named. So we're going to have to go there.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, this is so much better than another one. I'm so glad that worked out, because I was worried it was going to be a second one that was like that, but nope. This hits all the notes, all the right notes. So yeah, very happy.
Excellent. So what is your guess on how many shows? What number show is this?
40.
Close.
I'm taking a wild guess.
This is Barack Obama. This is 44.
44. Cheers. We're not going to do a 45th show. We're just going to skip over that number.
Is that what they do in elevators? Right?
11th the elevator, no going to the 13th floor. No going to the 13th floor either.
Right. So we'll just skip next week. It's cool. We won't number next week. Right. So I'm going to open up. We're going fast here now. Whatever.
Oh, that's great, man. I have another beer and I have something else at the end. So we go at whatever speed we fucking go.
Yeah, this is true. I got a whole part of this is because I'm clearing this.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this particular beer you're about ready to open.
Birthday Bomb from Prairie Arsenal. Prairie Arsenal Ales from, what is that? Oklahoma, right? Tulsa. Oklahoma, Tulsa, I believe. I don't know. The last time I saw my boy Brian Wurzberger, Oklahoma's okay. I'm bad with names, sorry, Brian. But he gave me this. The last time I saw him was in Maryland 2 years ago, or was it even Maryland? It might have been 3. I've had this beer for a long ass time.
Although because
that is the answer for this. It's just
part of that bomb series from Prairie. It's probably going to be totally fine.
Right. And that's kind of why I was just like, you ever, and it's just been went to different beer fridges. You ever have you just have a stout and you're just like, oh, I'll get to it. And then you just don't care. And then you're like, oh, I got an IP, I got to drink that. Oh, I got a brown ale, I got to drink that. And it's always everything jumped. So since it was recently my birthday and I've had it forever, what the hell? We're gonna, ooh. So what is birthday bomb? I should go look this up. Let's see. It's
You
a
can bring that
stout aged
see what
in
it is.
coffee, cocoa nibs, all the shit I like, vanilla beans and chili peppers.
Ooh, coffee
Oh,
and chili peppers. That's not one I've not sure I've had that as a combination before.
this is gonna
Or
be
it's like
fun.
motor oil. It's gonna be great.
So while we're here, what about pepper beers? What about spicy beers? What about all that? Where are you at?
Well, as someone who gets heartburn super duper easy,
Oh,
actually takes medicine for it when it's really bad. Uh, Chili beers have to be a very soft note for me. Some people can handle the heat of it, and I admire them. I just can't do that shit.
so
But
we're not going out for wings.
we can go out for wings. I'm just getting like garlic parmesan wings while you're getting.
Okay.
You can have that.
Yeah, no.
You and Jill can have that because she likes all that stuff. That's not my bag.
Oh, really? So Jill will sit down with like 40 hot ones with me and like,
Oh, she'll be down. I'm gonna tell you, she did the thing with there's a place that's not just totally local. They're through Pennsylvania and they mostly Pennsylvania. I think New Jersey. It's called Quaker Steak and Lube, and they had
yes.
they had a wing challenge where it's like you could drink their atomic or drink you could eat their atomic wings. It's only 6, but you eat 6 of them and you get like your name on a wall of fame and a shirt and all that jazz.
You decide a waiver.
But she ate 5 and just like, I'm dying. I can't eat it. Like, and her
Oh.
quote was, "It tastes like hell and pavement." That's one of my favorite phrases for her was that. And I was like, holy shit. So the birthday bomb, man, let's have at it. What do you think?
If I have to sign a waiver to eat something, I'm not going to eat it. So that's where I'm at with that. Even though it intrigues me to hell. Okay, so we're back to this one. It's not spicy at all. So I think I can imagine where it would be in this beer, if you know what I mean. I
Sure.
think I feel it at the end there, but it's not as pronounced as I think it was.
Right.
It's a lot of coffee, a lot of cocoa, a little bit of stout. I'm sorry, a little bit of vanilla. You would love this. I think you'd be fine with this, actually. Again, I'm not. You ever have do you know the difference between a jalapeno flavor and a jalapeno spice? Like if you just take if you scrape like the inside of like a jalapeno, it won't be hot, but it'll have that jalapeno taste. Like the seeds bring that hotness.
When I see jalapeno, I run like a little bitch.
Yeah. But I'm saying like that, to me, I think there's degrees of the jalapeno is what I'm saying. Like there's degrees of like hotness. Like if you leave those, if you leave those like if you leave the seeds in, like especially when I do salsas, if you leave the seeds in, it gives you more heat than if you take the seeds out. What I'm saying is this is like a jalapeno with the seeds out. I don't know if you ever had those torpedo jalapenos. See, I know you agree. You probably avoid them, but like if you ever like Michelle and I go to a place and they have like torpedoes where they have like a jalapeno and they put like cream cheese and like bacon and then like wrap it and then they like cook it and they roast it and it comes out pretty nice. But it's not too hot because again they take out all the seeds. So this is like to me it's like a neutered. It tastes like a neutered jalapeno. Like I know it's there. I know it can be hotter. It probably was, but it's not.
You think the time you had it stored away may have affected that? Because
I absolutely believe that.
when I cellar things with coffee in it, I know later on the coffee is just going to be all up in your business because that's just how when I cellar things that are very coffee heavy, that usually overtakes things.
Yeah, and that's where we're at. This is boozy, but it's more coffee. This feels like this drinks like a boozy coffee. Don't they make those now? Boozy coffees?
What do they do?
Yes, this is what this is.
Matt Clark had one.
Absolutely.
Remember, Matt Clark had one the last time he was on. He had a coffee that was a booze coffee, and it was
Oh, you're right. And I think breweries are starting to do this. I know I know the breweries are starting to
got it
serve.
from a local brewery by him.
Oh, okay. Because I know I know the breweries are doing cold brew coffee, which is not
Yeah.
alcoholic, but they're doing it. And I like that because again, sometimes you're at the bar and you want a coffee. You know what I mean? It's like late, you're just like, give me coffee. I don't know how you drink coffee, but I've become this coffee guy where I can just do it all the day. It doesn't even matter. Anyway, this is a
I can
boozy
drink a
coffee.
pot of coffee and go to bed. Like that stuff caffeine doesn't that doesn't affect me. I don't know why.
Wow.
Like if I get up and I don't have a cup of coffee, I don't get like some people if they don't have coffee they get like headaches because they're having caffeine withdrawal.
Sure.
Doesn't affect me. I like the taste of coffee, but yeah.
I become a headache if I don't have my coffee, but that's another thing.
That's a thing for another time.
right. That's just me being an asshole. So anyway, yeah, this will remind me of probably Matt Clark's spike coffee. But this is exactly what it tastes like. It's big coffee. And you nailed it when you said it's probably old the coffee just hits you, but coffee hits you here. So and I like it though. It's good. Good times. So you can never, I don't know, not that you can never throw away a stout, but it has to be old for you to throw away a stout.
Yeah, I think you can get away with maybe depending on if it's like a barrel aged one, you can get away with it longer. But I think if it's just a regular stout, you might have to be cautious.
Yeah, I don't think this is barrel aged, but yeah, you're right. And then again, if it has like coffee and you're a coffee person, then you could probably just bring it. I mean, it really is. This is nice. Right. For a coffee person, this is nice. For a person who doesn't like overwhelming coffee, this ain't your gig. It's just not.
Yeah. Well, you had it for a while and then you opened it, and so do you think it's something where you wish there was more heat?
Mm-mm.
No, you just like it the way it is?
I'm not a big, you answered this question. I don't think I did. I'm not a huge pepper person. I'm with you. As I get older, the acid reflux and all that starts to really hit me. It really does. And I have to be really smarter about it because as a kid growing up, I was the wing guy. I was a hot spice guy. I still even try to push it a little bit with the Mexican. And sometimes you're like, oh, no. So yeah. I'm not a big fan of the big, like, pepper this much. You know what I mean? But yeah, like, I'm not a pepper beer guy. So I'm happy about it being neutered for sure. So like novelty, man. Give me like a pepper beer. Like, you know what I mean? At a beer festival or something. Oh, that's cool. But no, it's not something I look for. I prefer smoked beers. Totally.
I am a million times with you on that. If I can find a smoked beer of any sort,
yes,
I'll give it a try because me being a Scotch person, like I want the peaty, smoky flavors. I like that shit. So just throw it in a beer and I'm gonna grab it.
So you're gonna open up your next one and you're also gonna tell me what was your favorite beer? Do you have a favorite beer moment of this year, whether it involves a show or not? Or did you go to a beer fest where I know you went to Philly for some beer and you went to a beer place that I didn't go to. I know that. What was it, Crime and Punishment or the Russian themed beers or whatever?
Yeah, I happened to be in Philly and boy, I'm trying to remember what I was even there for. And I went to Crime and Punishment Brewery, which was cool.
Wasn't it something for your son? No.
Maybe it was
something. Anyway, you were in Philly, and everybody thought you posted the Daddy Porter page, and everybody thought you were me. It was funny.
It was I was in Philly because of the Halo Outpost thing, a game.
Yes.
And I went there, and I went to another one. Crime and Punishment was just a very cool theme. I really enjoyed that. I also went to when I was in Detroit because the headquarters for where I work is in Auburn Hills, which is outside of Detroit, and I went to Pontiac, which is a couple miles away. Pontiac is where the Detroit Lions used to play. So, and actually where our headquarters is like a mile away from that place. So I went to Pontiac and I went to some pretty cool place. I went to Experimentation, which is be one of the cooler themed ones where they serve everything in like beakers. Like, and they make some weird stuff, and it was great because it was unusual. There's another place next door that had a shit ton of taps. That was cool. Yeah, I have to say, from a pure beer perspective, I don't know. I don't know what I think. Actually, experimentation was my favorite just because it was so unique. Crime and Punishment was cool because it was like a Russian-based thing. And the problem is, I fucking hated that book. I hated Crime and Punishment with all the fire of 1,000 suns. I really hated reading that book.
Oh wow! Okay, I didn't have to.
It was AP English, and they were like, "Read this," and I'm like, "You want me to read 1,000-page Russian book over the summer? God damn it!" And I did. I was like,
and this is before Russia was cool. But anyway, they never were cool.
But the bomb, they make a whole shit ton of variants of that.
Yeah, I got the birthday bomb. That's where I'm. But I guess the bomb is an imperial stout coffee, chocolate, vanilla. Yeah. I guess the bomb. I guess this is the base bomb. Does that make sense? Yeah. It's coffee and chocolate, and then I guess they have variants. I guess I had a variant.
I've had that particular one. I've not had any other variants.
Yeah, I guess birthday is a variant. Oh yeah.
So. But regardless, as far as like, I didn't get to go to any festivals this year because normally I go to the Omegang one, but they canceled it this year. So I'm hoping they bring that back this year. I am definitely going to Fresh Fest this year because I really, really want to experience that. And as you and I have talked on the show and off the show, just the idea of being someplace where there's a more diverse crowd of people making beer, drinking beer, talking beer. I want to be part of that because, you know, there's a bunch of dudes that look like me that make beer and talk all about that. But having folks of color, women, you know, non-binary, whatever, I want to see more variety, wider swath of people being in this. And so I'm really looking forward to going into that.
I can't wait till the details drop. All I gotta say is, man, you won't get a place. You won't be able to equal that vibe at that place. You just won't be able to. Like, once you go there and you see it, you know what I'm talking about. But it's one of those things you have to experience to be able to be like, yeah, I got you. So what do you got?
All right. So this last one I'm super excited about.
Yes, I want to. Me too.
So this one is called Cowbell Cream Ale. I know the glare is bad, but this is from Urban Growler out of Minnesota, and it is a woman-owned brewery.
Yes, sir.
And I think that's fucking badass. I want to see more of that shit. So when I saw this made me really excited. Also, the idea of more cowbell just made me laugh.
Well, yes, and yes. I think the thing here, the key is female owned, as opposed to female brewer, which is fantastic. It's great. Don't get me wrong. Female brewers, wonderful, but we also want women owning the breweries. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So a woman owning a brewery, she has more literally ownership of it.
Mm-hmm. Right. So this is a cream ale.
That's awesome. So we got our Urban Growler here.
Yeah, it's a cream ale. It's their Cowbell Cream Ale.
Oh, look at this. Look at the ladies. Wonderful, wonderful.
Beer for you.
Yes. Oh, and they're female owned, and they brew too. Master brewer Deb Locke. Yes. So owned and brewed by females. Wonderful. Mm-hmm. Master brewer, there she is. Oh, I love this. Look, again, if we eliminated brewers who weren't chemists, we wouldn't have any beer.
No.
We'd have created a biochemical.
Like, here's sludge.
Here's right. And my friend Maureen, her husband is he's a scientist, and he was talking about picking up a part-time job as a brewer. The all brewer. What's going on in that glass?
That's That's super delicious. Cream ale. Look at you can see it's just got all the notes from the view.
Okay, well,
Just like whatever you want. Cowbell cream ale. That's it.
there
Right.
we go. Transitional beer. Yes, the American Light Lager. Look at this. This may lure the American Light Lager. Right. Cream ales, light and gold,
Jeez.
low in bitterness.
Lawnmower beer.
Lawnmower beer.
Yes.
So that is a very, 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 in my opinion, great comparison to Spotted Cow. So what do you got? Which one's better?
Yes.
Yeah.
Spotted Cow's good. Don't get me wrong.
Right. Okay.
This adds way more character.
Wow.
The cream in it is really good, but it's still super light.
I want this.
I just think this is really, really, really good.
I want this. This is a Lawnmower beer. It will leave you wanting more, it says. No worries. I need more cowbell. Yes.
They're right.
Oh, they make a Kentucky Common.
And it finishes like crisp. So it's not like comes out off your tongue, and it's not dry, but it finishes crisp, and I really want more.
I wonder what our friends Paige and Rick and Dan think about this place. Man, and look at this lovely porter. I want this too.
Me too. Look how fucking dark and gorgeous that
is. Yes.
Try it with some of our spinach and artichoke dip. Oh man.
And I don't care what Afro Beer Chick says. That's definitely not a brown water porter. That's not brown.
No. So. That is not a light porter.
Right.
Afro Beer Chick, get your shit and get over to the lovely porter. God damn it.
Right. All right. Well, Afro Beer Chick's absolutely, definitely going to Fresh Fest, Doug. So what we need to do is we need to bring her some porters there too. We're going to do that. And we also should get her on camera too. We're going to do all this shit.
Man,
we're doing all this shit.
Yeah, we need to figure out a way to do like a fucking live show there. How awesome would that be?
We can do it, man. We can do it. We'll talk to the side on that one, but we can absolutely do it. And again, we're going to get her on camera tasting fucking porters at Fresh Fest. This is going to happen. If it has to happen at the there's a bottle share at night, which is the bottle share is better than the festival. How dare I fucking say that? It's again, this is the vibe.
You're getting
there. It's just amazing.
Bringing stuff that's not like, here's what I serve. This is stuff that I made, like that kind of thing. And
that too.
Like your point with what I thought was interesting when we were talking about the bottle share at Dad 2.0 is the idea that people always bring, like, if they're coming from out of town, they get a fly, they're going to bring their stouts, their bourbon barrel aged shit and all that stuff. But you don't see a lot of IPAs and think because they're, they don't store well, or you want something really fresh. But I think we're going to have to, like, because you and I are going to be driving down, I think we're going to have to do that. Bring some stuff that's like, here's this fresh stuff from where we're at. And try this stuff and let's do it. And like I said, I'm all about the stouts and the porters, but I want to bring other stuff too.
Yep. And then while we're on Fresh Fest, because I guess it was one of the best things I did in 2019. Look at that. Man, Urban Growler, that needs to be on my short list. We were just on there. I noticed we've talked about it before. I was up in Minneapolis 2 times last year. Great destination. In fact, I should talk about it more. I loved it, but this is going to be high on my list now. I'm definitely not going to St. Paul. So this is going to be high on my list. You really got me intrigued.
So how far is St. Paul from where you're at?
3.5 hours, 4 hours.
Okay.
Not too far. Hop, skip, and a jump. Family loves it. We've been up there more than a few times. We've heard from Paige and Dan. It's just a fantastic, beautiful city. It's absolutely one that you could just drop there and literally take the rails to like 17 breweries or something like that, just by going on the rails. That's not even like, it's insane. But this one really stands out because they look a lot. They remind me a lot of my lady friends here on Giant Jones, which I can't wait to bring you. You're going to get a whole bunch of Giant Jones. I'm going to go to Giant Jones. I love Giant Jones because they're so fucking affordable. Like you go there, you can have all their beers, take like 2 beers home, and like leave with a 20. They don't even take much. They don't take. You don't tip them because they pay a living wage. So it's just.
Oh, dude, that is a fucking great way to do business.
I can't say enough about my friends at Giant Jones. We got some things cooking as far as events this year, so I'll be talking more about them. But it's just amazing. And again, I just think this is what diversity brings you. This is why you're probably a bigger screaming, hollering advocate about diversity than I am. I'm obviously a walking, living thing about diversity. So are you, but you know what I mean, though. Like you're more of a screamer, holler about it, and I completely, obviously agree and all that. But this is what happens, like when you have diversity, and when you have women out here kicking ass, we get these different wonderful beers, and just a different angle. Like I don't think like people who are against diversity get the point that people who are diverse bring a different angle, and that's what they bring something different to the fucking table. Not that what everybody else is bringing to the table is bad. No one's saying that, because again, me and you are here drinking all your stouts, all your fucking IPAs, all your Scotch ales, all your red ales. We don't give a shit. But on some level, we don't give a shit. But on some level, it all becomes the same, and we need women to stand out and to own these breweries, to kick ass. And it's not just like the women are like, they're just other brewers. It seems like when it's a woman brewer, they just kick ass, Doug. Like their shit is just bad. It feels better. It seems better. It's not better. It's just different.
Yeah, it's more like, okay, well, we're Timon. We're still gonna make great beer. They don't take shit, and I dig that. So,
well, this is what I don't understand about people in diversity. Like most people, again, some people are different, of course, but most people have a woman and a man. And why do you have a woman and a man? So a lot of times it's about perspective. And there are things that Joe brings to the table that you could never bring. And there are things that, right. And there are things at the table that my lady brings to the table, and angles and things that I'd never think of. And I'm just like, holy crap, I would have never, ever thought of that. And the vice versa is true too. There are things that she's like, oh my goodness, well, that completely went over my head. And that's why you have diversity. And that's why you have people who come from different things. So then, Anyway, we weren't supposed to get on that diversity thing, but we are. And maybe that should be the thing. That's where we're looking back at 2019, and we had a lot of diverse guests. Man, we had Casey remember Casey from Canada? He got me rolling. I cannot wait to see him and Dad too.
Oh man,
and just some of the shit he was saying was just like hilarious.
He's effusive, man. He gets us rolling, and you're just like, all right, I'm along for the ride. Here we go, and that's great.
And it was funny because again, he's Canadian, and with all due respect, love him, but he kind of reinforced the thing about what Americans think about Canadians, which is they're really, really nice, and like they're nicer than us. And the aspect they are, because he was like almost, even at the post-production stuff, he was almost afraid to be like, look, you Americans are like this. And I'm just like, yes, we are. Yes.
Yeah. Generally speaking.
Saying it, yes. Like, and he's just like tiptoeing around it. And we're like, no, say it. Like, you know what I mean? And that, like, he almost reinforced what we think about Canadians, which is like, they're too nice and they should just all stay up there. Because they come down here, we're going to like eat them like alligators in like an alligator pit or something. And then like our friend Tiff too, she's amazing. She's great. She's so nice. But I think even a Canadian with an edge is still not like as rough around the edges as we are. How about that?
American with an edge, that's for sure.
What'd you say?
Not like an American with an edge.
That's right. Exactly. So they almost reinforce like, no one likes a stereotype, but like those two like almost reinforce like, again, they're just so nice that you're just like, shit, don't ever come down here. You're gonna like
don't get sullied by all of us negative motherfuckers.
Right. I don't like, you're almost like too nice to like, be corrupted by us. Correct. And that was like, they both give that off. And they're both awesome and amazing, and it's fun. And that was like a great, like, as far as diverse goes, it was cool to have them guys from a different country and give their perspective. And again, they were so like nice, and like they were tiptoeing around it. And we're like, look, just say it. We're asked to say it. We say, please. Anyway.
Yeah, no, man. And that's something I'd love to be able to have is some folks from other countries, and just, all right, here's what's your beer scene in the UK or like wherever you are, or Germany. I don't care. Like the more folks we have on here from different areas that get to talk about beer and how it works for them there, I welcome all of it. I want to hear about it. I want to understand, maybe not understand, but just hear about how things are, where everybody is. All right. Well, even if it's the United States, because sections of the country are just completely different for their beer scenes. Look at when you went to Montana, like Scotch ales galore, which I would have been in my glory.
And
Scotch
browns and reds and all those multi beers. And then you remember talking to me after we went to Philly, like close to you, and it was like what you see, which is a lot of IPAs, a lot of big, again, you don't really run around with them that much, but a lot of, big New Englands and milkshakes and all that stuff. And like, yeah, and this is the reasons you hit it right there for sure. Yeah. That's what makes America great, to be honest with. Well, I didn't mean it that way, but that's part of what makes us good, is that like we have so many different regions. Like America is like, if you put the American map over like Europe, it like covers all of Europe, and Europe has all that culture, all those different cultures, like in such a little area. And we have like, again, I think we have a lot of different cultures like in a wider area, and people don't understand that. I think we understand it more, but I'm learning it more through the traveling, and I guess everybody's learning it through me, like traveling. Like, damn, this is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So you have a nightcap, and I'm still sipping on mine. What you got, man? Or you have something that?
I got a nightcap because this is easily the coolest whiskey bottle I've ever seen.
Okay, so hold on. Before we even get to it, and you show us, people who follow us and know us know that you're a label guy. Like, you sometimes you're driven by the label. Sometimes you just buy a beer because the label's cool. All that. So does that apply? Because I know you're a Scotch guy. We all know you're a Scotch guy. Does that apply to bottles and scotches too? Like, do bottles, like if you see a cool bottle, we grab it, or where we at with that?
Well, with scotches and whiskeys, I will say this is that I am less of a bourbon aficionado. I'm more of a Scotch guy, and that's okay. But I also like Irish whiskeys, depending on how they're made. And the label and bottles aren't as important, especially with Scotch. It's more about what region are you from. I'm more I'm more partial to Islay's because Islay's are peatier and smokier, and that's more my jam. But I'm down to try, I'm down to try pretty much what do you have? There was a peated Irish whiskey I had, which is not normal for Irish whiskey. Irish whiskey is all pot stilled, but they did a peated version of that called Connemara, which I really like. But when I ran into something and I just saw this bottle, I was like, this is so weird, and it has an awesome name.
Oh, okay.
Nailed all the little pieces that are going to suck me in like a good fucking consumer like I am.
Right. Hey, marketing, man. Marketing. People get paid a lot of money for marketing. So
this is something called the Sexton. It's an Irish whiskey.
Single malt. Okay.
What's that?
Single malt.
It is a single malt Irish whiskey. So it's distilled, as you see, distilled in copper pots, which is a thing on the bottom, that's a distinctive note of Irish whiskeys.
Okay.
So this is, all right. So to look at it, it's just this really cool bottle. And then it has this awesome fucking lid.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
like, all right, your whiskey may fucking suck, but that labeling and bottle just has me. All I'm gonna do is just give it a try.
Well, people say too, if you put that much thing in your container, shouldn't your whiskey be good? Or like the whiskey can't be bad in that container. That's where I'm at.
Good thing.
So what are the things? What we know what makes a craft beer bad? What makes a whiskey bad?
To me, it's personality. Just the same as beer. Like, so if you have whiskey and it's just burning your throat, or it doesn't have any, like the flavor here's alcohol, and I don't. It's not good.
Okay.
Well, for me.
So you look for depth of flavor, like we look for.
And there's a lot of in whiskey. There's a lot of depth depending on
Okay.
the.
Okay.
I'm gonna
So
do
the
it.
better ones have like, ooh. Okay, cool. Okay.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do something that I do with every whiskey, even
Mhm.
bourbon. Then I'm gonna pour a tiny bit of water in it.
And what does that do?
The water is a chemical reaction that opens up all the nose notes, all the smells and all the scents you get out of it. And if you curl it, before it was just a really small note of things, and now it's like a symphony of stuff going on in your nose. I don't even know how to explain it.
Okay. I understand.
So this is the thing about whiskey that I love, is just like there's an indescribable part of it when you're just doing, like, I look like a nerd when I'm doing this, but I'm going to tell you, if you can just stick your nose in it and just take in the scents, you get like, I can almost smell the coppery part of the pots. There's just it's not like, now when I do something like Talisker or Lafroig or Ardbeg, which are very peaty ones, you just get smoke all in your nose.
Wow. Okay.
And you get that, and you're just like, oh, that just smells awesome. It's like smelling a smoked porter. Like there's a scent to it that just is intoxicating. And while the Irish whiskey is not my preferred whiskey, it's much smoother than, say, like, to me, bourbon is a lot of people really like bourbon. Bourbon has a really, in most cases, a pretty abrasive taste to me. Because it's like, but not all of them. There's some of them that are just like super fucking smooth, and you're like, God damn, that's really great.
Right, but a lot of them are abrasive. Facts.
Yeah, but most of them, but that's the appeal of bourbon. Bourbon gives you, and there's something people like, man, it's almost like it has a stank on it, and I'm like, yeah, I don't want that.
Right? No. You're making a lot of sense here, brother. But go on. You're making a lot of sense, actually.
So this,
bourbon,
because it's pot stilled, like I said, it's got that. It's not metallic, you're no, but it's like that coppery, almost like if you've ever had a copper ale and you could smell kind of the copper notes in it, you're smelling it. It's like that, but in a whiskey. And the thing about whiskey that is different than any other libation that I've ever had is if you can take some, and they recommend this with Scotch especially, is if you take some in your mouth and you breathe in as you have some laying on your tongue, it opens up these notes in your mouth that are just completely unique, and it's unique to each Scotch. And I don't know how to explain it. Like, Irish whiskey is a little different because the copper pot lends a fairly standard taste. Whereas depending on how they age whiskey and what region it's from and whatever ingredients are put in, the water matters. The water's different in all the regions. So you get different notes.
We call that terroir in beer.
Yeah, and it's like that for whiskey or Scotch. It has a little bit to matter in bourbon too. Now, because the thing is with bourbon, everybody thinks it's Kentucky or Tennessee. Yeah, that's most of it. But I don't know. This is such a nice sipper, and just.
So it's a good one.
Yeah. It's not like the best Irish whiskey I've ever had, but it's definitely, like I said, I'll sip this the rest of the evening, and I'll be very happy with that and content.
Where was it priced? Like middle range or low range or high range?
The Sexton was priced at $28.
So what is that? Low range or middle range?
No, that's for Irish whiskey. That's probably lower.
Okay.
A little bit. Like, good Irish whiskey is $40-$45. If you want cheap, that's like 21. So that was 25. It was $28. So
good for your value. What I'm hearing.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you, if you just sat and it's like, all right, I'm going to have a whiskey and I'm just going to sip. And that's what whiskey is. If you get good, like bourbon to me is more of like, I'm going to drink and I'm going to get fucked up.
Okay.
That to me
Okay.
is what bourbon is.
Okay. Okay.
Whereas scotch to me is more of a, hey man, I'm just going to hang out. And maybe that's a snobby part of me or whatever, but that's
So
my palate.
what do people add water to bourbon like you just did that?
Some do. There's also a thing that our friend Spike Zelenka sent me a bottle of what's called bourbon water. So bourbon water is this thing that they bottle, and it's like $10 a bottle, and it's water from Tennessee or Kentucky that's filtered through limestone because that's where they get their water. Everything's limestone there, and that's where bourbon gets its flavor. It's through this limestone water.
Okay.
You take this water and you dump it in, and it kind of takes away the harshness of bourbon. It coats it. It's almost like a bubble around the bourbon.
Oh, because bourbon is fucking harsh. Yes.
Yeah, and if you have bourbon water, it's not as harsh. It's still harsh because that's how bourbon's got a bite. That's what it is.
Huh. Spike is someone we got to get on here too, by the way.
Yeah, because we'll get him on with bourbon and he'll just go. And bacon, because he's a fucking bacon nerd. And that's awesome.
Yeah, and I've been drinking beers with Spike too. But we can talk about that some other time. Anyway, but yeah, no, Spike has cigars, and I forget. We're at Raleigh.
The whole thing. He's got the whole Las Vegas thing. So
yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. So back to that real quick. So, I don't know, like bourbon's a little harsh to me. I remember a couple weeks ago I had brandy. That brandy was smooth. It was just amazing. Brandy was fucking amazing. But I'm going to use that. I'm with you on this water. Add a little splash of water to your whiskey, but also I'm going to try to do it with the bourbon that I just got.
It depends on for whiskey. If you're going to do scotch, it's just a little bit of water in it, and just to open it up. Some people, and I'm going to tell you, when we went to Scotland, they were like, put a little water in it, and there were people that actually had like, here's water, and they would pour the whole water, and I was like, that seems like a lot, and they're like, yeah, people are weird. But no,
okay.
There are people that actually pour a whole bunch of water in it to kind of soften it. It just depends on what your palate is. Like if you go and like if I give you like a Lafroig or a Talisker or something like that that's really peaty, and you go, man, that's just not my jam. You pour more water in it, and it'll dilute it. So it just depends on what your palate is.
Nah, and I don't know. That water goes with what I do with beer too, because I do a lot of times beer, water. So like it kind of like goes with that as far as for me it makes sense as far as hydration goes. So like you want to keep hydrated, right? You don't want to get dehydrated and get a hangover, I guess, right? You keep drinking water or something. I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to overcomplicate this shit.
So yeah.
But I don't know. I like all these on the rocks too. So then that's water basically being added. And I also like my drinks cold too. So I like a sipper cold. Is there anything? So ice would ice have the same effect?
Yeah, it could. If you let it sit and let it melt. Sure.
Because I like that. Like give me a couple cubes, put the whiskey in, and we're just talking. You're right. It's a sipper. Like, and I'm just going like this the whole time.
The thing like that is not something you'd be chugging. Hey man, I'm going to drink a couple of bolts of this, and
right.
Not a shot thing. It's not
right. But I like it cold though. For me, I like it cold.
Yeah.
But some people like it more. For me, the coldness is cool. But some people, to me, it goes down a little bit smoother if it's colder. But I guess some people like it room temperature too. But no, okay.
I tend to like it neat. I tend to like it neat with a little water. That's my preference. Again, everybody to their own. If you go and say, I have a glass of whiskey or bourbon or whatever, and I put a couple ice cubes in it, and that works for you, fucking have at it. Awesome. Yeah. Good for you.
That's what works for me. So I'm gonna start wrapping up. I ain't going anywhere, but I can start wrapping up. My favorite
up over there.
My least favorite today was the Gold Marzen. It was good. Light drinker. The Marzen kind of threw me off. I was looking for more, breadiness and stuff. But you're right. When it said gold, it was a good tip off that it was going to kind of be light. Because what is a gold Marzen? It doesn't even.
I don't think I've ever heard of that. So
Right. So they're tipping me off with that. I just didn't get the tip. No worries. We have the Imperial Pumpkin from Dangerous Man, one of my favorite breweries around. Um, I didn't feel anything fall off from this. We talked about that. It felt like I think it felt like it would have drank a couple months ago. These crowlers are nice. I think beer lasts longer in these things than they say. I think they go under as far as the whole, you know what I mean, it's good for a couple weeks thing. They're trying to be very, very conservative on that, I believe. I think if you seal this right and do this right, you know, it's no different than a normal can. I love these things. I do. I love them better than growlers. I think they're fantastic. And then the winner was this Prairie Bomb, you know, like 17 years old. It was great. At least 3 years old. At least 3 years old. And this is great. It was great if you like, you know, if you're a coffee person. It was basically, you know, it was basically alcoholic coffee. Good times. It'll be interesting to see how it was when it's spicy. It could have been too spicy for me, and we went into it. I pretty much guarantee this would have been too spicy for you when it first came out. It probably was too spicy for me. I felt a little bit of it, but like I said, it was like neutered jalapenos. Like jalapenos are weak if you take them, you know, you make them weak. Take out the seeds and stuff. So this is a good one. I'm interested. It'd be nice if I can get more of this. The bombs, because I know you know about the bombs. I do, but I don't see much of. I don't see. You probably don't see any prayer. I don't see much of prayer.
I see actually not a great deal of prairie, but some. Down at the Wegmans that I normally go to, they have some that are in a case for like the fancy beers that you can buy one bottle of.
Oh.
So the bomb is one of them. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen the birthday bomb before, so that's new. So
no, but what do you see from Prairie? Just when you see them, you just see what stouts and stuff, or do you see like IPAs and shit like that?
Well, the thing, to be honest, with the Prairie beers, the place that I go near where I work, I see other beers of theirs that are like IPAs and stuff, and I'm just like, I'm not that well versed in IPAs to think that, I'll give that a chance, because their beers are fairly expensive. They're a niche beer company kind of thing to me for where I am. And maybe it's because of where they are and where I am. That's probably the case.
So your wrap up, Doug, how was your Wisconsin, or I'm sorry, your Midwest roundup?
So I'm going to say there were no losers out of this group at all. Like, I think every beer I had was good. But if I'm going to rank them, because that's what we do, believe it or not, that's the lowest one.
Oh, it should be.
It's not like, this sucked. No, this was good. This is very drinkable. I could drink a bunch of these, but it's not remarkable.
No, it shouldn't. No, right.
Yeah. So the second
one, reliable, Doug. It's reliable.
Reliable is a very good. It's like
it's reliable as fuck. That beer, it really is. People love it for that.
Like, I know what I'm getting, and I'm getting that every fucking time.
Right. And you know, at the end of the day, too, like, you don't know, but like here, people are like, I want to spot it. Like, I just want that relief. Like, people look at it like relief. It's weird. It's going
like Guinness in Ireland, because that's
yeah. You know, right. It's like a comfort thing.
So my second one was the Lake Louise Scotch Ale. That was really good. Like I said, I had a shitty bottle before. This was all what I had hoped a Scotch Ale would be. So this was really good. But the winner was the cream ale from Cowbell.
Yes.
Urban Growler. Really,
I never had. Damn it.
Yeah, creamy, like a little creamy, but not like overly so. Like, just super well balanced. None of my beers had any ABV on the cans or bottles, so I have no idea what any of them
What's up with that, Midwest? Right.
What the fuck are you doing? Are you just trying to be hammered?
But he can rename nameless, or maybe you said his name. Shout out to your friend who bought your beers, though. That's good shit. And he actually bought your shit that I don't know if I can even get for, or I can even get. But I'm gonna be looking for that Urban Growler all day long. So
Yeah.
if they distribute here, I'm getting it. And if they don't, I'll be calling Dan and Paige and Rick. Yeah, we're gonna do something.
Like, hey man, hook me up. Yeah, I don't know
Yeah,
where.
I need to be hooked
Like
up with
I
that.
said, it's my friend Kyle. His parents came into town and just brought him just a metric shit ton of beer from the Midwest. To be
What
fair,
great parents. They're great.
I'm not gonna relay too much, but he had an accident on his dirt bike and he was really fucked up for a while.
Oh,
His parents came in, were taking care of him, and
oh, good shit.
they brought a bunch of stuff for him, and he's just like, "Yeah, I can drink. This is great." He's a Wisconsinite, so like drinking is kind of part of his for lack of a better term. But yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he is always like, if he gets stuff and he goes home, or he always brings me stuff from there, and I give him stuff from here that he maybe hasn't tried or whatever. But yeah.
But Doug, that's because you're so lovable.
I don't know about all that.
Well, it's true. I'll vouch for that shit. Okay, whatever. So, Doug, anything else we want to talk? Oh, does your so we're not. You didn't include the whiskey in your whole wrap up.
Whiskey is that's its own entity. I'm always going to love whiskey. So
okay, but that whiskey though, you're recommended
because that will always win for me.
Okay.
But there is something else we need to talk about in very brief. But
hold on. But is that, sorry, before we get there, is that whiskey recommended? And can you show everybody?
Yeah, absolutely.
And show everybody. What was it?
Such a low price point for Irish whiskey. I mean, for $25 for a bottle.
Show it again, please, buddy.
Yeah. This is the Sexton Irish.
Yep. Okay.
I would completely recommend this. Like where I got it was 25 or 28 bucks, $28 at the most. I think after tax it was $28. New York has really high taxes, so do that.
Okay, so we have another announcement, or we have something else to talk about?
No, one other thing to talk about is you and I discussed this a little bit. Was I posted something in about Dogfish Head doing a Utopia's worldwide stout, and you were a little bit worried that they were maybe Sam Adams was doing, because the Utopias is a really small amount of beer they put out.
Mm-hmm.
I am of the opinion that if they're going to do worldwide stout with Utopias, I am all for it. I think you are too, but I think you're worried they're going to make that like bigger, like they did with Bourbon County Stout.
Well, yeah, or my thing is that, like, just how about just Utopias in general before we even get to that stout? Utopias in general is a rare thing, and you have to kind of go find it or pay a lot of money for it. And I like that exclusivity. I think it's cool. I just don't want them to, you know what I mean? I think there's a line. I don't want them to overdo the Utopias, meaning I don't want it to be out there so much that it's no longer a novelty. Because then, you know what I'm saying? But on some level, it's, I don't know. I'm conflicted on this. I'm totally conflicted. I want people to have it. I want people to try it. I tried it. It's great. When you go to the GABF, I don't know. These people show lines of it. It's just crazy. People go for it. I've had it. It's great. I'll have it again. But yeah, you're right. When I saw, worldwide stout with the Utopias, I'm just like, but again, that's Dogfish and Sam getting together, so that needs to happen more. We need to see more of that. Of course, we're going to see more of it. Yeah. It's brilliant. I don't know. I'm down.
I just want to see it as a collaboration because, like, the idea of like, one, I've never had a Utopia's beer ever.
Okay.
I've had worldwide stout, and the thing is, I've had worldwide stout fresh, and I had it 5 years old once.
Oh,
a 5-year-old one was like delicious syrup. I can't even explain. It was so fucking good. I was just like, my God, that's awesome. What is that? Because the guy brought it in. I was at a brewery, and the guy said, all right, I'm going to pour you guys this. And I had brought some beer, and I said, here, try this stuff. And it was like, whatever. But the guy came in and he goes, I'm going to pour this. And he poured it in like a bag where you couldn't see what the bottle was. And he poured it in and it's like, I want you to guess what this is. So he poured a tiny bit for everybody. It's like, a finger of each for everybody. And almost all of us were like, that's a barley wine of some sort. We don't know. And it was like, no, it's a 5-year-old worldwide stout. And we were like, what? It was like, just wow. Yeah, that was good.
And then you had one. You said you had fresh. Was that at the same place?
Time, but it was as a friend of mine bought a bottle and he shared a little bit with me. So it was that.
And then, do you remember how does Worldwide Stout go up against your favorite ones, which is, I know, Dragons? Let's just go with Dragons.
Well, here's the thing. For me, there's kind of an affinity I have for Dragon's Milk that. So Worldwide Stout it's kind of a different beast. So I can buy a 4-pack of Dragon's Milk for $15. I can buy one bottle of Worldwide Stout for 12. And so Worldwide Stout is delicious. I don't think it's that markedly better than Dragon's Milk. I really don't.
I agree with you.
It's not that it's not a great beer. It is. It really is delicious.
But that range, though, that value range there is tricky.
Yeah, and it's something where they're like, well, you're buying because it's a Worldwide Stout. Okay. But I also, when I went to this one place, I was going to pick up there was a variant of Bourbon County Stout, and I'm trying to remember what it was. It was a coffee variant, right?
The coffee is the best one. But go on. Coffee is the best one.
So I have a bottle of Bourbon County Stout in my cellar that I'm going to save for next year. It's because I bought 2 and then I drank one and I cellared one.
We're talking this year's Bourbon County, right?
This year.
Okay.
Because I usually do that. I had the one from last year and I cellared it for a year and it was delicious.
So you normally buy 2, drink 1, cellar one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I saw this coffee one. I was like, oh, that's cool. And I pulled up the register and the guy rang it up and it was $25. It's like, no, take that shit off. That's
$25 for this, right?
$25 for a 12-ounce bottle. I was like,
it wasn't a bomber.
Saying that. Sorry, dude. That's great.
Right. Let's make it clear. It wasn't a bomber. It was a normal size
12-ounce bottle.
Gotcha.
It's not a unicorn bomber. None of that. It was a 12-ounce. I was like, nope. Take that shit right the fuck off my bill because I'm not buying that. I'm like, that's a cool thing, but I'm not doing that.
Right.
So.
Right. So there's a value assessment is what we're saying, basically.
Sure. And so there's certain people we know who are willing to spend enormous amounts of money for rare beers. That's their choice. I am very selective about doing that, and I'm very budget conscious about that because I'm a budget nerd. So, yeah.
Well, that and as we already been there. I love saying that. I love to say when I say this. I love your reaction. You have 4,000 kids, so like.
I only have 4, not 4,000.
Right. But I love the response every time I say that.
I'm not a Mormon. Don't fucking put me in that category.
I do. If you have, see again, I raised 3 little Rugrats. What was it, like 7? They were like 307. So like when anybody has 4, because I've had 3, I always make it like 4,332. Because I'm like, I did 3. I don't know how you people can do 4. I don't even know how. Like, grace to you, all that, props, love. I just don't. So then I always add like a decimal. Like when it's 4, it's like, and I do this to everybody, and everybody, like people who have 4, are like, what? Like, because to me it feels like I did 3. 4 feels like 1,000 more. Like it's all, you know what I mean? That's how it feels to me. So I'm just more like, props. I love you, man. Props that you guys do that shit. And what I mean by you guys, I mean you and Jill, and you know what I mean, like everybody who, not to bring up politics, but it takes a village, and on some level, it's truth. So anyway, go on. Sorry. We don't ever get, man. It's funny. Now's the time for a sponsor. Doug has a podcast that he does with one of my friends, Jay, and they talk about a lot of this. So you can go over to Doug's podcast. I'll let him tell you where you can find all that. But they talk about parenting, and drinking and sickness. And one of my favorite episodes is the one that Jay was talking about how everybody got sick in his house, and it was just a relatable thing. Like it was like 2 years ago or some shit, but it was
Well,
really relatable on a level.
start
Like
that up next month because just it's been a bit in these. I mean, some of the stuff that's been happening in the background.
sure, but it's you guys are so.
Pretty
My point
public.
is that like this is like a little tease to that because you guys are so like this. What we're talking about now, like parenting and this, that, and everything. You guys really go into it and like a real human level, and it's really fucking cool because again, a lot of shit that you guys say, I don't know if you probably heard this a lot. It's so relatable to a lot of other parents. So like when Jay was talking about that sequence, it was just like, yeah, man, and
Yeah,
I don't
been
know.
there, done that.
Jay
Yeah.
doesn't have 4,000 kids. He only has 3,000, right?
No, he has 3. We have 4. Now the funny thing is, like,
No, Jay has 4.
no, he has 3. We have 4.
Okay. Jay has 3,000. You have 4,000, right? I got it. Okay, go on.
So he's Andre 3000. I'm Andre 4000.
Yeah, exactly. Go on. You're gonna say something.
So we have a podcast called Parental Advisory that,
Yes.
like I said, we're going to start doing that in February again. It's
Cranking it back up.
we are because it's been something where a lot of stuff has happened on both sides, like for stuff with my family, stuff with his family, and it's life. Stuff happens, and like it's been just overwhelming for both of us. And we were talking a bit the other day, just like, all right, man, we're going to gear this back up, but like. So his busy time for work is now. Mine is not. Mine is
Okay.
so mine is more in the middle of the year, and his is like right now. So he just busy, and he's got 3 fucking kids. We have 4 now. For us, it's actually a bit easier in that we
Yours
have
are older.
We have 4. One of them in college. We have. So we're a blended family. So 2 of my kids go to their moms, and for a week at a time, we get them on the weekends. And Jill's one child still has to go back to her dad's, and so there's some flux. Whereas Jay, nope, no break. He's just all the time. So he's like you. They're just 3 kids. So it's we're going to be gearing that back up, and
cool. And we'll be hearing stuff like this. Is what I'm saying. Like you'll get a lot of that over there with you guys. It's great. It has perspective. Again, as a parent, I can relate to a lot of stories. On top of just knowing you guys as friends, I can just relate to a lot. Even if I didn't know you, I can just put your podcast on and just relate to a lot of it. As far as so, that's why I love when you guys parental dad advisory, and it's cool because you guys touch a lot of things that dads talk about, but you're also getting into other shit too. So I don't know. It's a great variety type thing, and I completely. If you guys enjoy this bullshit, you'll absolutely enjoy that because that's way more structured and better than this shit. This is just 2 guys getting on and drinking. That's there's actually a production value over there, and there's actually like some thought put into at least a little bit of it. With all due respect, Doug and I go a little bit by the seat of our pants. So, and also I think we love that. That makes it what it is. But what's that?
We don't do a whole here's a script. Now Jay and I don't do that either. We have a general here's what we're going to be talking about, and here's some of the points we want to hit, but we don't do the whole all right, we don't make lanes.
But it almost feels like you do. In a weird way, it almost feels like you do. And you guys have definitely more valid, not valid, but you guys have really good, I was talking to you on the side about the abortion one that you guys had where you guys talked with the guy that disagreed with you. You guys had a really measured, great conversation. And it was wonderful. And I love it. And we need to have more measured conversations like that in this day and age where people just scream at each other and call each other names immediately. Like that was that was one of your best ones, in my opinion, you guys, because you showed that you could disagree and still have a good conversation. And actually, you guys talked about more about the stuff that you agreed than you disagreed, even though you disagree on things. And it just showed, in my opinion, that like people can disagree and still be fucking like cordial and still be human to each other. It was amazing. Go. How's it going on a rant? That was a good one.
That was our friend Aaron Softly, and he's a pastor. So it's like that's the thing. We want to inspire conversations where it's not like oh well, fuck you and fuck you. Like some of that's okay. Like I'm not saying that you can't have conversation with folks where you disagree with them, but Aaron is mindful of the idea that like not everybody's the same. So here's my opinion, and maybe we don't agree, but we maybe can meet in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why that episode really worked. I really, that's one of my favorites from that.
Oh yeah, and it's great, and it shows you again. A lot of times we have more in common than we have against, and we just focus on the against. Like we just focus on where we disagree, and if we focus on where we disagree, no one would ever get anywhere. So it's a very interesting, and it's a great drinkable podcast too. You can drink and listen all day long. It's fantastic.
We drink while we're doing it, so it's
great. Right. I listened to it on my road trips, man, and obviously I wasn't drinking toward them, but these were like I was listening to it. I was like, man, I could just sit at home and just have like a cocktail and sit back and like so like it even pairs your podcast pairs well with beer, so that's a good thing too. Look at that, man. So on that note, Doug, I'm gonna let you wrap it up.
Yeah, man. So been a great episode, and I like recounting some of the stuff from last year. And like I said, it normally my taste range in the really heavy beers, and tonight was a nice break from that because none of them were super heavy. It was great to see you have some things that were like, I'm just going to grab some stuff from my fridge.
And my hat. Come on now.
And the hat was fucking island. I can't pull that off for shit. So
I pulled it off apparently. I don't know, but
yeah.
Maybe I'll have more hats this year.
Yeah. More hats. And the problem for me is like with hats is like because I have to wear my glasses to see shit because I'm an old man. Is like if I wear hats, it's like maybe I need the like Morpheus glasses from the Matrix that he just set up.
Yeah, right.
The problem is my nose goes like this side because I've broken it 8 million times. So like sitting something on my nose isn't great. But
why people punch you? You don't have a punchable face. What's the problem? Your face ain't punchable.
No, not the basketball.
Basketball, right? No, I got you. I already know. I wanted them to know.
I've gotten elbowed in my nose so many times that it broke. It's bad, but like, and the worst one, and I'm just going to regale this, and then we'll kind of move on. Okay. I was not a great athlete, so like, I was a scrapper. So it's like the only elite skill I had as a basketball player is I could really shoot the ball, but that's because I practiced it a million times. But
that and you're a white boy. Sorry.
So I remember I was playing.
Sorry, white boys can shoot, man. Come on now.
Yeah, that's not a white man can't jump, but I could because I was the first.
You could shoot though. You could fucking shoot. Go on.
Yeah, but I was the first person in my high school to ever dunk in a game.
So white boy can jump. Okay.
I used to. I can't now because
I'm not talking about old white boy. I'm talking about young white boy.
Young white boy can. So anyway, it was something where I was diving for a loose ball. Mm-hmm. And this other guy dove for it at the same time and just landed on my head and just blood everywhere, and my nose was just smashed.
How old are we?
17. No, 18.
And that was the first. That was the first one.
No, that was not the first. That was like. Okay. I've broken my nose like 8 times. That's not a joke. That's literally 8 different times.
That's why it's good to have like a small like note like mine, like flat and like.
Because if
it's hard to break and shit.
I can do so dumb thing. I can do this. I get my nose over there, but watch. I can't go further than that because I broke it. That's the quality content we're looking for, Greg.
I was about to say this has to be one of the best ones of just it has to be. We talked about noses. We talked about 44. We talked about last year. We talked about upper beer check. I mean, we covered everything.
I think we did, man.
So on that note, we'll see you guys next week. Cheers.